travel back in time to the cradle of civilization, where the Middle East's story begins. This region, often referred to as the birthplace of humanity, witnessed the first sparks of human civilization. The Middle East, a vast and diverse landscape, is where ancient cultures, some of the oldest and most enduring, found fertile ground to grow and flourish. Its historical richness is unparalleled, offering a vivid testament to the earliest chapters of human history. In this part of the world, cultures were born, thrived, and left their indelible imprints on the annals of time. Venture further into the past, where the fertile banks of the Nile River Valley nurtured the first whispers of the grand Egyptian civilization. The Egyptians, a race marked by opulence, mystery, and a profound connection to the divine, erected the awe-inspiring pyramids. These towering edifices are resplendent testaments to their architectural prowess, standing tall against the test of time. An intricate pantheon of ancient deities, each with their unique mythology, served as the foundation of a vibrant spiritual culture that permeated every stratum of their society. They were the architects of an advanced society whose influence reverberates even today, echoing through the corridors of history. In tandem with the rise of the Egyptians, the Fertile Crescent bore witness to the ascendancy of another formidable civilization, the Mesopotamians. The Mesopotamians, distinguished by their ingenuity and intellectual vigor, made groundbreaking contributions to the history of mankind. It was here, amidst the fertile lands of the Crescent, that the written word first caught life, revolutionizing how humans communicated and chronicled their experiences. The Mesopotamians, with their sky-reaching ziggurats and sophisticated legal systems, symbolized the infinite potential of collective human intellect. Their civilization was by a range of advancements in diverse fields like architecture, agriculture, governance, and trade. Nearby, the mighty Persian Empire began to take form. Famed for their formidable military prowess and expansive territories, the Persians quickly ascended to become a force to be reckoned with. Their stretching across 3 continents, Asia, Africa, and Europe, was one of the largest and most influential empires in the annals of history. The Persian permeates various aspects of our present-day existence, with their contributions to art, science, governance, and more continuing to shape the world we inhabit today. The ornate Persian rugs, the technologically advanced Qanat water management system, and the early democratic system of governance are but a few examples of the rich Persian legacy. These civilizations, each unique and distinct in its own right, were linked by a shared factor: the geographical positioning of the Middle East. This region, strategically perched at the intersection of continents, grew into a bustling hub for cultural exchanges, trade, and migration. Ideas, goods, and people traversed its borders fluidly, infusing the region with a diversity of perspectives and fostering a culture of innovation. Yet this cultural crossroads also presented its own unique set of challenges. The strategic significance of the region made it a coveted prize among emerging powers, making it the focal point of power struggles and territorial disputes. This seeded the beginnings of conflict, and the region emerged as the epicenter of major power plays. These conflicts, birthed in these ancient times, evolved over the centuries into intricate webs of issues continue to persist in the present day. As we unravel the Middle East's intricate narrative, it's crucial to remember these ancient beginnings. We must remember civilizations that rose and fell, the cultural exchange that enriched societies, and the conflicts that marked the region's history. All these elements played a part in shaping the Middle East, in molding it into the region we know today. The Middle East, with its rich tapestry of history, has been a stage for centuries of cultural exchange, the rise and fall of empires, the intermingling of cultures, the shift in power dynamics, and the emergence of religions that have profoundly influenced the course of human history. It witnessed the rise of Islam, the spread of Christianity, and the persistence of Judaism. It saw the birth of the Phoenician alphabet, the invention of the numeral 0 in India, the development of the wheel in Sumer, and the codification of one of the legal systems by Hammurabi in Babylon. Every ancient city, every historical event, every relic unearthed from the sands of this region tells a tale. They narrate the story of human civilization, of human victories and defeats, of human creativity and destruction, of human passions and conflicts. This story encompasses all the shades of human experience, all the nuances of the human condition. It is that reflects the complexities of our past, aiding us in better understanding our present and envisaging a more hopeful future. Thus, the stage was set for centuries of cultural exchange and unfortunately conflict. In the heart of the Middle East, three of the world's most influential religions were born. This region, steeped in history and rich in cultural heritage, has served as the epicenter for the birth and growth of these religions. Its geographical location, nestled between continents, has played a pivotal role in shaping the religious, social, and cultural dynamics of the world. Here, the Fertile Crescent nurtured the seeds of human civilization, and from this cradle arose three major world religions, namely Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The Middle East, with its rugged mountains, vast deserts, and life-giving rivers, has provided an evocative backdrop for the birth and growth of these religions. The landscape itself, harsh yet beautiful, has influenced the tenets and teachings of these faiths, giving rise to philosophies imbued with a respect for the natural world and a recognition of human insignificance in the face of divine power. Now let's delve deeper into the emergence of Judaism, one of the earliest monotheistic religions. This ancient faith took root over 3 millennia ago, in a time when many societies were steeped in polytheistic beliefs. The followers of Judaism, who were then a small, often persecuted group, affirmed the existence of a single omnipotent deity. This central tenet of monotheism, a radical notion in its time, would later inform the major principles of Christianity and Islam. The core beliefs and practices of Judaism were meticulously recorded in the Torah, a revered text considered by its followers as the written record of God's revelations. The moral and ethical commandments set forth in the Torah, including the observance of the Sabbath and the practice of charity, formed the foundation of Jewish society. The philosophical teachings of Judaism, deeply ingrained in the Middle Eastern ethos, have forever left their indelible mark on the region's spiritual, social, and cultural landscapes. Moving on to Christianity, we see an evolution that fundamentally reshaped the religious landscape of the Middle East. This religion emerged from the roots of Judaism in the 1st century AD and soon spread across the territories of the Roman Empire. This rapid proliferation was due in no small part to the tireless efforts of the apostles who promulgated the teachings of Jesus Christ. Christianity introduced principles of love, forgiveness, and salvation, concepts that were wildly discrepant with the authoritarian rule and stark social inequality prevalent at the time. The teachings of Jesus Christ as the Son of God challenged prevailing ideologies and introduced novel principles of morality and spirituality. As we fast forward to the 7th century AD, we encounter the birth of Islam, a faith that, much like Judaism and Christianity, affirmed the existence of a single, all-encompassing deity. The Prophet Muhammad, whose teachings are meticulously recorded in the Holy Quran, established the foundations of this new faith. Central to Islamic doctrine are the principles of social justice, community solidarity, uncompromising monotheism, and complete surrender to God's will. These teachings gave rise to a faith that spread rapidly across the Middle East and beyond, leaving an indelible mark on the region's history, culture, and social fabric. The coexistence of these three religions in the same geographical area has, to be sure, not been without its share of challenges. Differences in doctrines and practices, often amplified by political and territorial disputes, catalysts for conflict. Over the centuries, the Middle East has been a stage for religious tensions, wars, and power struggles. Yet even in the face of these conflicts, the Middle East has also witnessed periods of relative peace, mutual learning, and cultural exchange. This delicate balance, often disturbed by social, political, and religious upheavals, remains a defining feature of the region. The influence of these three religions extends far beyond the boundaries of the Middle East. Their teachings and philosophies continue to shape the lives of billions of people across the globe. They have influenced societal norms, laws, philosophies, arts, and literature in countless ways. Their impact can be seen in the most mundane aspects of daily life, from the food we eat to the clothes we wear, from the languages we speak to the music we listen to. Despite their differences, these religions also share many common values and beliefs. The importance of charity, the value of community, and the belief in a single, all-powerful God are common threads that run through the tapestry of these faiths. This shared heritage has often led to periods of peaceful coexistence and mutual learning. In conclusion, the Middle East is a region of rich religious diversity, shaped by the birth and development of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. These religions, intertwined and yet distinct, continue to be potent forces in the Middle East's ongoing narrative. Their impact resonates today, shaping not only the Middle East but the broader world in profound ways. Over centuries, empires rose and fell, each leaving its mark on the Middle East. First, let us delve into the depths of the Persian Empire. This empire, a beacon of knowledge, progress, and power, originated from what we now recognize as Iran. However, its influence and reach extended far beyond its geographical borders, encompassing territories from what is now modern-day Egypt in the west, to the borders of India in the east. The empire's vast geographical spread allowed the Persians access to a diverse array of resources and cultures. These they incorporated skillfully and thoughtfully into their own civilization, creating a multicultural society that was truly a testament to their wisdom and understanding of the world. The Persian Empire's ascent to power can be attributed to its insightful and visionary leaders. Two of these leaders, Cyrus the Great and Darius the Great, loom large in the annals of history. Their unique contributions to the empire's development and prosperity have ensured their enduring legacy. Cyrus, the founder of the empire, was renowned for his wisdom and humanitarian approach to ruling. He was a ruler who cherished the rights of his subjects, irrespective of their race or creed. His systems of governance, especially his emphasis on human rights, were pioneering for their time and set a fresh standard for rulers that followed. His legacy continues to resonate, evident in the ideals of tolerance and diversity he promoted. Darius, his successor, augmented the empire's prosperity with insightful administrative reforms. He introduced an efficient administrative system that provided the structural backbone of the Persian Empire. This system bore testimony to the Persians' aptitude for organization, a skill that was intrinsic to their success. They engineered an extensive road network that covered the length and breadth of the empire, facilitating swift communication and efficient transportation. Their innovative postal system exemplifies their technological prowess. However, history bears witness that even the mightiest of empires meet their eventual twilight. The Persian Empire succumbed to the onslaught of the Macedonian king, Alexander the Great. His aggressive military campaigns brought the reign of the Persians to an abrupt end, marking a shift in power. This pivotal event in the history of the Middle East paved the way for the ascendancy of another influential civilization, the Romans. Much like the Persians, the Romans were renowned for their organizational skills and administrative acumen. They redefined the concept of an empire, transforming it into an expansive entity that extended its boundaries both physically and culturally. They incorporated the Middle East into their territories, introducing a new wave of knowledge and innovation into the region. The Roman laws, architecture, and culture permeated the fabric of the Middle East, leaving an imprint that persists to this day. The Roman Empire, however, shared the fate of all empires as it wasn't immune to the vicissitudes of time. It split into the Eastern and Western Roman empires, the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, continuing to wield influence over the region. The Byzantine Empire was a powerful economic and cultural entity that controlled the region for over 1,000 years. It was an empire of immense religious value, with Christianity becoming a dominant force during its rule. The Byzantines, in their pursuit to spread their religious beliefs, had a significant influence on the diversification of the Middle East's religious landscapes. However, their control of the region waned over time, culminating in the empire's collapse at the hands of the Ottoman Turks. Our historical exploration then brings us to the Ottoman Empire, the last of the great empires that ruled the Middle East. The Ottomans enjoyed a reign of over 400 years, during which the region experienced a period of relative peace and stability. Their centralized system of administration, which was a testament to their organizational skills, contributed significantly to this period of comparative tranquility. As is often the case with all empires, the Ottoman Empire's power waned over time. The empire, once a symbol of strength, disintegrated following the devastation of World War I. This marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter in the history of the Middle East. The rise and fall of these empires have left indelible imprints on the Middle East's political, cultural, and religious landscapes. They established systems of governance, disseminated new ideas and beliefs, and have profoundly shaped the region's identity. They witnessed the region's growth and transformation, contributing to its evolution in their unique ways. The echoes of their achievements, their triumphs, and failures continue to reverberate in the annals of history. These echoes shape our understanding of the past and influence our vision for the future. The shadows of these fallen empires still linger in the Middle East's modern struggles. The winds of change blew from the west, bringing new players to the Middle East stage. This statement marked a significant shift in the relationship between the East and the West, setting the stage for a new era of power dynamics and global politics. As the 18th century began to fade into the annals of history, the once mighty Ottoman Empire started to show signs of a slow but inevitable decline. This empire, a monolith of power influence that had once stretched across Europe, Asia, and Africa, began to crumble, worn down by its own complexity, corruption, and internal strife. Its vast territories, once the pride and joy of rulers and subjects alike, began to shrivel up, mirroring the empire's own diminishing influence. The fall of the Ottoman Empire, which was citadel of Islamic power and culture, was a clear indication of the shifting global power dynamics. In the West, the ascendant powers of Europe were watching these developments closely. Nations like Britain, the behemoths of European politics, viewed the slow decay of the Ottoman Empire with a keen interest and a twinkle in their eyes. To them, the decline of the Ottoman Empire represented an opportunity, a chance to expand their own territories, to increase their influence, and to fill their coffers with the riches of the East. And so, driven by an insatiable desire for power and wealth, they set their sights on the Middle East. This region, rich in culture, history, and resources, was viewed by the Europeans as a prize to be won, a ripe fruit ready for the plucking. And they did not hesitate to extend their reach into the Middle East, moving in with a force that was anything but benign. This was a violent storm, a whirlwind of change that tore through the region, leaving nothing untouched. The Europeans, with their colonial ambitions, marched into the Middle East, reshaping the landscapes, altering identities, and recasting the destinies of nations. The region was transformed, its borders redrawn, its social fabric torn asunder. The Europeans, with their insatiable greed and boundless ambition, carved up the region like a pie, paying little heed to the ethnic, religious, and cultural groups that had lived there in harmony for centuries. The borders they drew were arbitrary, dividing people and communities that had long been tethered to the land, and igniting tensions that still smolder today. Perhaps the most egregious example of this disregard for the complex social fabric East was the Sykes-Picot Agreement of 1916. In this notorious pact, Britain and France, with the implicit consent of Russia, carved up the Middle East into zones of influence, placing their own interests above the aspirations of the Arab people. This secret agreement, when exposed, sparked outrage and resentment among the Arab people, feelings that still linger today. The after-effects of these colonial decisions continue to reverberate in the Middle East, marking the region's political landscape and fueling its ongoing crises. The arbitrary borders drawn by the European powers, the artificial states they created, and the tensions they ignited have grown into thorny issues that continue to stir up conflict in the region. The current territorial disputes, the simmering sectarian tensions, and the political turmoil that mark the Middle East today can all be traced back, at least in part, to the decisions made by colonial powers over a century ago. The legacy of colonialism is a burden that the region continues to bear, a weight that shapes its history, its culture, its politics, and its future. Despite the challenges, the Middle East remains a region of great potential, a land rich in history, culture, and resources. Its people, resilient and determined, continue to resist the legacy of colonialism, asserting their identities and striving to redefine their destinies. They continue to push back against the winds of change that once blew from the West, forging their path and carving out their own futures. The echoes of colonial decisions continue to reverberate in the Middle East's current crises, reminding us of the region's complex history and the enduring impact of past actions. But the winds of change may have blown from the West, but the people of the Middle East continue to stay strong, to resist the legacy of colonialism, assert their identities, and to redefine their destinies. The winds of change may have blown from the West, but the echoes of colonial decisions continue to reverberate in the Middle East's current crises. In the aftermath of World War II, a new nation was born, deepening the region's divisions. The year was 1948, a year that would be indelibly etched in the annals of history. It marked the birth of Israel, a nation whose emergence would forever alter the course of history, not just for the region, but for the entire world. This event was not merely a footnote in the chronicles of time, but a cataclysmic moment that sent ripples through the socio-political fabric of the Middle East. The birth of Israel was a ground-shattering incident, a seismic shift that forever changed the region's political, social, and cultural dynamics. The emergence of this new nation-state drastically altered the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East, transforming it into a hotbed of conflicting national aspirations, clashing identities, and a rising sense of nationalism. The Middle East, a region known for its diverse populace and rich tapestry of cultures and traditions, found itself thrust into the global spotlight. The birth of Israel marked a turning point, a moment in time when the region transformed from a melting pot of diverse cultures, from Jewish to Arab, from Christian to Muslim, into the epicenter of a geopolitical storm. The region, known for its multiculturalism, found itself in the eye of a geopolitical hurricane. The forces of nationalism, religious zealotry, and historical grievances collided in a whirlwind of conflict and tension. The idea of Israel's existence did not spontaneously come into existence. Rather, the roots of Israel's birth were sown deep into the fertile soil of history, long before its actual creation. These seeds were planted in the late 19th century, with the rise of a political ideology known as Zionism. This movement, fueled by the fervent desire for a homeland for Jewish people, was advocating for the establishment of a Jewish state in the land of Israel. This land, steeped in historical significance and deep-rooted religious tradition, held a special place in Jewish hearts. It was more than just a geographical location, it was a potent symbol, an embodiment of the Zionist aspiration. The dream of a Jewish homeland, once a distant aspiration, gained momentum and became a compelling reality in the aftermath of World War II. The world, still reeling from the horrors of the Holocaust and the unimaginable atrocities committed against the Jewish people, began to see the need for a safe haven for the Jewish diaspora. A place where they could live free from fear, free from persecution. The vision of a Jewish homeland, incubated in the minds of Zionists for decades, began gaining traction and acceptance across the globe. In 1947, the newly formed United Nations, an international body aimed at promoting peace and cooperation, proposed a plan to partition the British Mandate of Palestine into Jewish and Arab states. This proposal, designed to solve the complex problem of two peoples laying claim to the same land, was met with an array of reactions. Despite its noble intentions and comprehensive approach, the plan was met with stern rejection from Arab nations and Palestinian leaders. This rejection led to a war in 1948, a war whose memory would be etched differently in the minds of the Israelis and Palestinians. For the Israelis, this conflict would be known as the War of Independence, a struggle for survival and statehood. For the Palestinians, this event would be remembered as the Nakba, or catastrophe, a moment of profound loss, displacement, and dispossession. The war ended with Israel expanding its territory, a move that went beyond the initial United Nations proposal, resulting in the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. This marked the beginning of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a struggle that was more than just about land. It was a struggle over identity, over history, over the very essence of nationhood. This struggle has persisted and echoed through the decades, shaping and reshaping the lives of countless individuals and communities. Over the years, this conflict has taken many forms, from full-scale wars to peace treaties, from intifadas or uprisings to ongoing political negotiations. Despite periods of relative calm and numerous attempts at resolution, the conflict remains deeply rooted in the psyche of the people and the politics of the region. It has left in its wake a legacy of pain, displacement, and insecurity. Mistrust and animosity have become intergenerational narratives passed down from one generation to the next. These narratives continue to shape the identities and aspirations of millions of people on both sides of the conflict, driving an unending cycle of tension and violence. This conflict, unresolved and bitter, remains at the heart of the Middle East turmoil. In the 21st century, a wave of protests swept the Middle East, promising change and delivering chaos. This critical period was marked by significant transformations, which were instigated by a series of political developments that were as swift as they were vast. The sequences of events were collectively known as the Arab Spring, a poignant metaphor that represented metamorphosis, growth, and turmoil during this period. However, it's essential to note that the Arab Spring was not a monolithic event, but rather a string of interconnected movements that gradually unfolded over time. Its origins can be traced back to late 2010, where it slowly permeated the region, growing in intensity and changing the historical narrative of the Middle East. The trigger was a single act of protest by a Tunisian street vendor, a man who made the heart-wrenching decision to self-immolate rather than continue living under a brutally oppressive regime. This single act of self-immolation resonated deeply, setting off a domino effect that touched the lives of millions. It was akin to a match being lit, its sparks setting off a chain reaction that reverberated across the Middle East, toppling several long-standing authoritarian regimes in countries such as Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, and Yemen. Nevertheless, it's crucial to comprehend that the Arab Spring wasn't a uniform revolution. It was a complex, multifaceted event that manifested itself differently across various nations. Indeed, each country's unique societal and political frameworks greatly shaped the course of their revolutions and their eventual outcomes. In Tunisia, the heart of the tumultuous wave, the shift from autocratic governance to a democratic system was comparatively peaceful. The oppressive regime crumbled, and a democratic government emerged from the ruins, providing a glimmer of hope in the midst of despair. In contrast, Libya's experience of the Arab Spring was marred with violence and bloodshed. The fall of its despotic leader, Muammar Gaddafi, plunged the country into a vicious civil war, leaving enduring scars of division. The dream of democracy seemed to fade away into the fog of war, supplanted by a bleak reality of conflict and instability. Egypt's journey, on the other hand, was characterized by turbulence. Euphoria of successfully overthrowing Hosni Mubarak's regime was soon replaced by disappointment and disillusionment. A military coup d'état led to a state of uncertainty, followed by the election and subsequent removal of Mohamed Morsi, Egypt's first democratically elected president. Today, Egypt remains under military governance, its democratic aspirations crushed under the weight of dictatorship. Perhaps the most heartbreaking narrative of the Arab Spring is that of Syria. What began as peaceful demonstrations against Bashar al-Assad's regime swiftly escalated into a civil war. The conflict drew in international intervention and triggered a humanitarian crisis of monumental proportions. The nation was torn apart, its cities turned into rubble, and its citizens forced to endure unimaginable suffering. In Yemen, the Arab Spring set off a chain of events that culminated in a devastating civil war. The conflict continues to rage on, leading to widespread famine and destruction. The country, once bustling with life and vibrancy, now stands as a chilling reminder of the cost of revolution. The Arab Spring was a stark reminder that the road to democracy is often fraught with uncertainty and upheaval. The hope and promise of a better tomorrow are frequently supplanted by the harsh realities of civil wars, humanitarian crises, and the rise of extremist factions. Although the Arab Spring brought about change, it also ushered in an era of suffering and hardship. But in the face of adversity, the people's resilience and determination remained unwavering. They stood up against tyranny, fought for their rights, and demonstrated to the world that the pursuit of freedom, dignity, and justice is a universal endeavor. Even amidst the challenges and obstacles, they never lost sight of their ultimate goals. As we contemplate the events of the Arab Spring, it serves as a testament to the strength and resilience of the people. It's a reminder that even during the darkest times, the human spirit can triumph. As the dust of the Arab Spring begins to settle, the future of the Middle East remains uncertain. But one thing is for sure, the people of the Middle East have shown that they are willing to fight for their rights, and that gives us hope for a better future. As we gaze into the crystal ball, what does the future hold for the Middle East? The Middle East, a region of profound historical significance, has always been at the crossroads of human progress. Considered the cradle of civilization, it has been a locus of monumental events that have defined our shared human history. Home to some of the world's earliest societies, the Middle East straddles the intersection of three continents: Asia, Africa, and Europe. These historic lands have borne witness to the emergence and decline of numerous mighty empires, each leaving their indelible mark on the region's cultural, social, and political landscape. From the fertile valleys of Mesopotamia to the sweeping deserts of Arabia, this region has seen the transformation of nomadic tribes into advanced civilizations. The echoes of the pharaohs of Egypt, the Sumerians of Mesopotamia, the Persians of Iran, and the Ottomans of Turkey can still be felt in the region's modern identity. These ancient civilizations were not merely historical footnotes. They were instrumental to the development of global culture and knowledge. They broke new ground in various disciplines, from art, architecture, and literature to mathematics, science, and philosophy. Their contributions laid a strong foundation for the societies we see today and continue to influence our contemporary lives. The Middle East is akin to a complex manuscript where each era has inscribed its narratives and ideologies, often layering new concepts over old ones. Each civilization, each age, has left a unique imprint, creating a rich mosaic of incomparable diversity. This amalgamation has birthed a unique synthesis of customs, traditions, languages, and religions. However, this incredible wealth of cultural diversity has also been a wellspring of contention. Over the centuries, the Middle East has seen its fair share of conflicts, often ignited by differences in ethnicity, religion, national identity, and political ideology. These tensions have left long-lasting scars and continue to shape the region's socio-political landscape. As we contemplate the future, we envision a Middle East where the lessons of the past serve as a guide rather than a source of resentment. We imagine a Middle East where past disputes are healed through dialogue and understanding, and ongoing conflicts are resolved through diplomatic means and mutual respect. Although this vision may seem like a dream shimmering in the desert heat, it is a hope that lives on in the hearts yearning for peace. In this envisaged future, borders are not lines drawn in aggression, but bridges connecting diverse cultures, promoting mutual understanding, and fostering shared prosperity. In this potential future, the region's abundant resources, whether they be oil reserves or human talent, are not exploited for individual gain, but utilized sustainably for the benefit of all its inhabitants. These resources hold potential for economic growth and social development, and their wise management can transform the Middle East into an oasis of prosperity. Comprehending the Middle East's history is like solving a complex puzzle, where every piece, every historical event, brings us closer to understanding the broader narrative. It is a vibrant tapestry of cultures and faiths, each with its unique storyline, each contributing to the overall chronicle. Global powers have significantly influenced this chronicle. Given its strategic position and vast resources, the Middle East has often been a focal point for international politics. These global powers have shaped and will continue to shape the region's destiny. The key concern is how they exercise their influence. Will they use it constructively to promote peace, or will they fan the flames of conflict? The future of the Middle East is not predestined. It is being written every day by the actions of its leaders. We hope they choose a path of peace, understanding, and shared prosperity. They hold the pen that can inscribe a new chapter in the Middle East's history, one that is defined by harmony, not conflict. We must bear in mind that the past, present, and future are not separate dimensions, but a continuous series of events. Today's decisions, informed by historical experiences, will shape tomorrow. The Middle East's intricate tapestry is a testament to this reality, where the threads of history and the knots of conflict are intricately woven together. However, with understanding and collective action, we can help reshape the future. We can untie the knots of conflict and weave in threads of peace and prosperity. Our vision is not of a utopian Middle East, but of a region where differences are embraced, conflicts are resolved, and potential is realized. A Middle East where the echoes of the past guide the decisions of the present and the aspirations of the future towards a harmonious existence. In the Middle East's complex tapestry, the threads of history and the knots of conflict are inextricably intertwined. But with understanding, empathy, and action, we can help weave a future where these knots are untied and the threads of peace and prosperity are woven in their place.